Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, or if it's your first time here, thanks for stopping by. I'm Seth, and today we're looking at the darkFlash DS900 mid-tower PC case in white. This version here comes with 4 ARGB 4-pin PWM fans. Should you buy it? Let's find out. Welcome to the Middle of Nowhere. Disclaimer time. darkFlash sent me the DS900 for review, and while they sent it to me for free, I haven't been paid to make this content. All my thoughts and opinions on this product are my own and have been influenced only by my experience with it. Also, darkFlash won't see this video until it's live on YouTube. Now back to the review. The DS900 is an ATX mid-tower case and comes in your typical brown box. However, darkFlash has put a load of information about the case on it, which is great for those who might find this case in a brick-and-mortar store like Micro Center in the US. Online shoppers will obviously have to rely on the information they find on the store's webpage or darkFlash's official DS900 product page. Inside the box, you'll find the case protected by hard foam and wrapped in a plastic bag. The glass panels also have peels on the outside to help mitigate scratches. The case is made from 0.5mm SPCC steel. It also has some plastic bits, and of course, the 2 glass panels. Size-wise, it measures 434mm long, 218mm wide, and 454mm tall. The 2 glass panels are 4mm thick with no tint. Each panel is surrounded by a border on 3 sides, with the side where the 2 panels meet being borderless to give a seamless look, as there is no vertical support pillar there. The metal side panel is secured by 2 captive thumb screws. It also has quite a bit of flex to it, and it wouldn't take much to bend it, so don't put too much force on it and stow it away in a safe place when building your PC. The metal side panel also has a slew of holes on the left side so the side fans can intake air. However, its porosity is quite lacking. To improve side ventilation, there needs to be more holes, or the existing holes need to be made into larger ones. The way the holes are currently sized and spaced now, air could be impeded. As the panel is now, you could easily add an additional hole in between every 4-hole square to increase airflow. The glass side panel is held on by 1 captive thumb screw, magnets, and small teeth at the bottom, while the front glass panel is fastened to the case by 2 screws and friction nubs. You can easily remove the front glass to more easily build your PC if you'd like, but this isn't necessary. You'd think the absence of a vertical pillar on the case might make it flimsy, but darkFlash has done a good job here with rigidity, and the case still holds up to some downward force. Having said that, be careful not to put too much weight on the top without the front or side glass panels installed, as they are load-bearing.
I wouldn't take it down if I were you. It's a load-bearing poster.
As far as panel alignment goes, the 2 glass panels on my case at least are flush with no gaps, which is great to see. If you have this case, let me know if the panels meet up nicely for you or if there's a noticeable gap or misalignment. As for the manual and accessories, you get the following: zip ties, a variety of screws for your motherboard, 2.5-inch and 3.5-inch storage devices, and power supply, as well as longer screws for mounting fans to the bottom of the case, 3 standoffs and a standoff installer. And finally, rubber inserts for the front I/O ports to keep dust out. This is a nice little touch. The manual is nicely done. It's large, comprised mostly of images, and is easy to follow. It details everything that's included with the DS900, all the I/O cables, and even PC installation instructions. The only thing I'd say that it's lacking is that it doesn't provide instructions on how to install the cable for the dedicated LED button, which I'll speak to more about later. Diving right into how much this case costs, if you purchase it directly from darkFlash's store, it'll cost you $85 for the black version and $90 for the white model. Trying to buy the DS900 at usual online retailers like Amazon or Newegg makes pricing a bit more complicated, as both companies seem to vary their prices, with Newegg being the closest to MSRP and the darkFlash site. I recommend buying directly from darkFlash, as Amazon has been known to inflate the price to well over $100. Having said that, the site's price also vary widely, so check during sales events if you can wait, as you may save money over MSRP there. The disparity in prices from site to site is quite annoying, because if you use PCPartPicker.com or research affordable PC cases through Google, the main shopping sites they both suggest are Newegg and Amazon, among others. And these sites' higher prices will only serve to drive away prospective buyers. If you decide to buy directly from darkFlash, their site was uncomplicated, which is a good thing, and after adding to cart to see how much shipping might cost, I'm happy to report there's no additional shipping fee, only sales tax. Bottom line, to ensure you're getting the most bang for your buck for all your PC components, I suggest you see if the company for the part you're looking at has their own dedicated store, and then compare their price to where you usually buy your parts. If you want to bring your own fans to your PC built, you can save money by getting the DS900 non-RGB. This version also comes in black or white and has only one 4-pin PWM fan at the rear. While not available on darkFlash's store, at least from what I could find, I did find it on Amazon. The I/O is at the top of the case, and there you'll find power and reset buttons, both of which make satisfying clicky sounds when pressed. A separate HD audio headphone and mic jack, one USB 3.2 Gen 1 port, which is 5 gigabits per second, one USB 2.0 port at 480 megabits per second, or up to anyway, and one USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port with transfer speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second. darkFlash should have removed the USB 2.0 port here and included a second USB 3.2 Gen 1 port instead, in my opinion. I just don't see the point of having a 2.0 port here when most cables for 3.2 Gen 1 can support 2 headers. Finally, you'll find an LED button you can connect to your motherboard to control the fan lighting rather than install software. However, I'm not sure where you plug in the cable for it. I hazard a guess you might plug it in where the reset switch would go on your motherboard and then forego plugging in the reset switch cable, but I'm not 100% sure, and the manual doesn't let me know either, which is not an ideal user experience, especially for new PC builders. If you know where this plug goes, leave a comment below. The fans do have standard 3-pin ARGB connectors, so you can plug them directly into your motherboard and use software to control your lighting instead of the case switch. The cables for all the I/O connections are solid black, and none of them have any ketchup and mustard wiring, which is great to see. They're also all flat, which should make cable management easier. The DS900 comes with 2 dust filters, one at the top and one at the bottom that spans the entire bottom. Both are magnetic and easy to remove for cleaning. These filters are your no-frill plastic kind with magnets glued to them. The top is white, albeit a bit of a warmer shade of white than the rest of the case, and the bottom is black, which is fine, as you won't see it. However, I do wish the bottom filter was more premium, perhaps on a rail system framed in plastic, which would make it easier to remove. If it were, it should also be removable from the front or side. I'm glad it at least spans the entirety of the case's bottom, as this will be effective if you were to install bottom intake fans. I also wish there was a third filter for the side panel, which is set to intake by default. You could probably move the top filter to the side, as more than likely any top-mounted fans will be set to exhaust hot air. The DS900's case feet are made of plastic, held on by both screws and tension nubs, and they're covered in a cushiony foam inserts that are somewhat rubbery. These will both help mitigate vibrations and keep the case from sliding around your desk. The feet raise the case roughly 3/4 of an inch or 2 centimeters off the ground, providing enough clearance for your PSU and any bottom fans you install to take in fresh air. You can fit a variety of motherboards into this case, including ITX, MATX, and ATX. EATX need not apply. The motherboard tray has a large recessed cutout for CPU cooler installation after the motherboard has been installed into the case. 6 of the 9 standoffs are pre-installed, so you'll need to add at least 3 from the accessory bag depending on your motherboard. Remember, don't over-tighten standoffs, as you can strip the threading quite easily. Unfortunately, the DS900 does not support back-connect motherboards, which I feel is a bit of a miss by darkFlash, but not a deal-breaker, as this standard has not yet become so widespread as to be everywhere or even affordable. As for storage, the DS900 can accommodate up to 3 drives. On the back is a single sled for a 2.5-inch drive. It's made of flexible plastic and the screw holding it isn't captive, so be careful not to break the sled or lose the screw. At the front is a removable tray where you can install 2 3.5-inch hard drives, or one 2.5-inch at the top of the tray and one 3.5-inch drive inside it. Alternatively, you can add an intake fan at this front spot instead of 2 drives. To remove the cage so you can install drives or a fan, remove 2 screws at the bottom of the case and then slide it out. To the left of the 2.5-inch sled is another mounting spot for a second sled, but only one is included with the DS900. This is yet another missed opportunity by darkFlash, and in my opinion, a cheap move. It can't cost more than $1 to $2 to make the plastic sled and add a screw. Sure, I could use the bottom cage for an additional 2.5-inch drive, but I'd rather reserve that spot for an additional intake fan. Bottom line here, case makers who offer 2 mounting spots should include 2 trays. A variety of GPUs, CPU coolers, and PSUs can fit inside the DS900. You can install GPUs up to 425mm long. Be aware though that the PCIe slot covers are the terrible one-use kind. So know how many slots your GPU is and only remove the appropriate amount of covers necessary. If you're using an air cooler for your CPU, the case is compatible with coolers up to 170mm in height. While the DS900 can hold power supplies up to 220mm in length, I recommend sticking with a smaller PSU, somewhere in the ballpark of 135 to 150mm, so you have room to stuff excess cables in the PSU shroud area. When it comes to fans, the bottom, rear, and side all support 120mm fans, while the top can hold either two 140mm or three 120mm fans. This allows you to install a total of 10 or 9 fans depending on your configuration. As previously mentioned, depending on the version you buy, you'll either get one 120mm non-RGB PWM fan located at the rear, or 4 120mm ARGB PWM fans, one in the rear as exhaust, and 3 reverse blade fans on the side for intake. The ARGB and PWM cables are also daisy-chained, so you'd only have to use one fan and one ARGB header on your motherboard if you didn't add any additional fans, which is awesome. One thing I did find interesting about the rear fan mounting spot is there isn't any case material to obstruct the fan, only a fan grill on the back so you don't hurt your fingers. I've never seen this design choice before in a case, and I don't think it will negatively impact airflow, but rather improve it since there's no case material to get in the way, only a thin wire grill. As for the bottom fan mounting positions, I don't really see the point of them, as the one directly above the power supply will struggle to get any air due to the 1cm clearance between the fan, the PSU shroud cover, and the PSU itself. The middle and frontmost positions are the most logical fan mounting points, but these two aren't without pitfalls either. If you use the middle fan position, you'll cover up possible cable routing hole for the GPU, and if you use 28mm or thicker fans as opposed to standard 25mm fans, you may run into clearance issues if you have a thick GPU. As for the frontmost fan, if you install a drive into the storage sled below the fan, you'll choke it for air. And because the fan is so close to the side intake, I cannot help but wonder if installing one here would cause turbulence, creating inefficient cooling and airflow. If I only had one additional fan to install at the bottom, I think the middle spot, as awkward looking as it might be, would be the best place to put it, as it will help provide the GPU with fresh air despite losing a cable routing hole, never mind the possible clearance issue. Overall, darkFlash could have done a better job implementing the bottom intake fans, and one way would be to add additional perforations on the rear side panel along the bottom for the middle and left fans to pull air into the case, or do like the Antec Flux Pro and shorten the glass panels and install a perforated metal panel below it for the fans to draw in fresh air. Ultimately, I'd pass on installing any bottom fans and stick to 3 side intake and then rear and top exhaust, even if it causes a negative pressure setup. You could always adjust fan speeds to get neutral pressure. If you want to use an AIO liquid cooler in the DS900, you can fit either a 360 or 240mm radiator at the top, or 240mm radiator at the side. While I wouldn't say this case is ideal for custom liquid cooling a PC, it is doable. You could easily do a 2 radiator setup with a 360mm rad at the top and 240 at the side. If your CPU and GPU don't generate too much heat, that radiator combination should suffice to cool both components. And then you could install a pump res combo at the front fan mounting spot, or mount it to the side fans if you wanted. Additionally, I did try fitting a 360mm radiator at the side, and it does look like you could possibly fit one there, even though there's no official support for it. It would have to be a slim rad though. However, you may have to remove the storage sled to do it. Then any res pump combo you use would mount to the side fans using a 120mm fan mount, unless you drill some holes in the bottom where the storage sled was. When it comes to cable management, darkFlash did a pretty good job here. There's plenty of cable tie-down points, and there's roughly 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch of space behind the motherboard tray for stowing cables. The bottom PSU shroud also has several holes to route cables through, giving you plenty of options. One downside is there are no cable grommets, which I feel should be standard in a case that costs over $80. Regardless, you should be able to route your cables easily if you're not using all the 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch storage mounting positions and aren't using a RGB fans with a million wires and hubs. Overall, I give the DS900 a crisp high 5 for cable routing.
How about a crisp high 5? Okay. Merry Christmas.
darkFlash calls her DS900 a luxury PC case. It even says so on the box. But when is a product both luxury and budget at the same time? Is it when it has premium features like 2 glass panels, a USB Type-C port, and includes 4 PWM ARGB fans, while priced under $100? Is it when the case lacks cable grommets and has non-reusable PCIe slot covers with a price of over $69? The DS900 somehow manages to compete with more expensive cases while also staying firmly stuck in the realm of what you'd expect from something much cheaper. Surprisingly, when I researched cases comparably priced to the DS900, I found its feature set is quite similar. While I couldn't always tell if those other cases had reusable PCIe slot covers, what many didn't have were cable grommets. Has this feature become more of a premium or true luxury of late than even a Type-C port? While it might not be impossible to source third-party cable grommets that fit in the DS900 or another grommetless case, I think it's poignant to note that this feature in 2026 no longer seems to be a given for cases that cost more than $80. Another feature the DS900 lacks is back connect compatibility, something you may want in a case should the standard become more prevalent and those types of motherboards more affordable in the future. One feature darkFlash completely misses the ball on, which I've already harped on ad nauseum in other budget case videos that have these, but that I also can't let go of, are the one-and-done PCIe slot covers. These truly are the hallmark of a cheap case, and one that shouldn't be present in any product priced over $70. Even in this economy.
In this economy?
darkFlash and other brands either need to stop using them entirely or at least provide up to 3 reusable replacement covers in the accessory bag to account for up to a triple slot GPU. At a minimum, this would also make the presence of the one-use covers more tolerable. Ultimately, when asking whether DS900 is a luxury PC case or not, I'd argue 2 things. 1, it isn't, and B, this word shouldn't really matter as it's simply marketing mumbo-jumbo and not something you or I should get too hung up on. Let the features this case has or doesn't have, the material, quality, its part compatibility, and its ability to cool said parts do all the talking. Finally, let's answer the question of whether you should buy it. If you can find the DS900 priced at $89 or less, it's worth a look. But I do some heavy comparison shopping as well. At the right price, the DS900 will make a suitable home for your PC components, and you'll be able to overlook its shortcomings and the shortcuts darkFlash took with this case. And that's all I have to say about that. What do you think of this PC case? What can darkFlash do to make it better and more enticing to prospective buyers? If you already own the DS900, what do you like or dislike about it? Was it easy to build in, and is the airflow good or is it lacking? Write a comment letting me know. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Leave any questions or comments you have about this product or about PC building in general down below. Hit that like button if you liked the video and help the channel grow by getting subscribed. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any future content. I'm Seth, and I'll see you next time in the middle of nowhere.